Welcome to an introduction to educational research. Today's video is dealing with summarizing data, and specifically summarizing data when you're working with one categorical variable. There are a couple of prerequisites that you probably should have already accomplished to get the full benefit out of this video. You should have seen the video Variable Types and Roles, and it's at this URL on YouTube. And you should also have watched the video Levels of Measurement, and it's located at this URL on YouTube. But it's suggested that you take a look at both of those so you'll have a good understanding of what a categorical variable is and where it fits in the measurement scale. But let's go on and I'll give you an example. Okay, suppose there was a researcher who was really interested in determining the attitudes of undergraduate college students toward mandatory background checks for anyone wanting to purchase a firearm. So the researcher put out a survey, collected some of the necessary demographic information, gender, age, maybe political affiliation, maybe socioeconomic status, a whole bunch of demographics, but we're not going to work with that now. But here's the main question that the researcher asked, or the main statement that the researcher asked the participants to respond to. Anyone wishing to purchase a firearm should be required to go through a mandatory background check. And then he asked participants to please select one of the following: strongly agree, agree, I am neutral on the issue, disagree, and strongly disagree. Well, we have a variable here, and the variable is the attitudes of college students towards mandatory background checks for anyone wanting to purchase a firearm. That's it has 5 attributes: strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree, and numbers are assigned to each attribute, but obviously the numbers have no meaning. They're just categories. So in essence, we have one variable here, and it's a categorical variable that has 5 attributes. And so we're looking at then what's a good way of summarizing when you have data like this. Now we're talking about one categorical variable, but suppose you had a survey that had 10 questions of this type, where you asked people some information about a variable and it had 5 attributes. So you'd wind up with 10 questions with the 5 choices. And so this is a way that you could summarize the data for each of those choices, because it would be categorical information that you're working with. Okay, so we're going to click this button and the computer is going to select randomly 1,000 responses, either strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. It'll generate the numbers from 1 to 5 here. Well, let's do that. Well, okay, so now we have 1,000 numbers here. So this is the survey responses. And of course, we have to try and make sense out of this. It's an awful lot of information. So the researcher was interested in looking at what percentage of the students fell into each category. How are students divided across each of the 5 categories? Are they equally divided? These are questions that the researcher might be interested in. And is there an order or pattern to the data? Now, in this video, we'll be concerned with the first 2 questions mainly, and how we might summarize the data, this 1,000 pieces of data, so that we can make some sense out of it. So again, as I said, we're looking at one variable, which is the attitude towards background checks, and it has 5 attributes, and they each have a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to create a frequency distribution then to try and make some sense out of this data. And this is what a frequency distribution would look like. It's a table. And by the way, there is a video on frequency distributions, and you may want to watch that also, because it talks not just about a frequency distribution, but a cumulative frequency distribution also. Okay, so we have our 1,000 data points, and I've programmed the computer so that it automatically will, 216 out of the 1,000 strongly agreed with the position of background checks, 209 agreed, 206 were neutral, 175 disagreed, and 194 strongly disagreed. Pretty evenly distributed. But we would want to figure out percents because that would help us more. So the formula for the percent would be the number of count. So in this case, strongly agreed there were 216, and if we divide that by the total number in the sample, which was 1,000, and multiply it by 100, that would give us the percent. Same here. If we wanted the percent of people who agreed, we'd take the count, 209, divide it by the total, and multiply by 100, and so on. Same for all, and the computer will calculate that. So we have 21.6% of the people strongly agree, 20.9% agree, 20.6% were neutral, 17.5% disagreed, and 19.4% strongly disagreed. So it seems if we take a look at this, things are pretty evenly distributed throughout this 1,000. Students, doesn't seem to be any real pattern here. But again, this is a way of getting a very quick look and being able to make sense out of it. Let's clear the data and let's run another 1,000 just for fun. Okay, we have another 1,000 surveyed, and let's get the count here. And we'll do the percent formula, and let's, okay, our percentages are pretty much the same, pretty much the same. They hover about 20% in each category. This one is a little lower. Okay, well, this is just to give you a quick down and dirty way of taking a look at, if you are getting information on one categorical variable, a frequency distribution is probably the best way to present it. Very simple to construct. And again, you might have a survey with 10 questions, 20 questions, and if they're categorical in nature, then you would have a bunch of frequency distribution tables. So, very simple. Also, pie charts, bar and column charts, and line charts are also excellent ways to present and display data. Gives a very clear picture right away of what's going on. And there are many YouTube videos that will show you how to do that. And there are some URLs listed below. So your assignments then for this video are to watch the video 7:10:40 displaying descriptive data, which is at this YouTube location, and complete the attached assignments that go with that video. And second, then to select 2 of the 4 YouTube tutorials listed below. Here are some URLs, or you can find your own YouTube tutorials on using Excel, and we would like you to create a pie chart, a bar chart, column chart, or an XY scatter plot to create 2 of those. Pie chart, a bar chart, column chart, or an XY scatter plot. To create 2 of those in Excel, put all of your information in a Word document with your name and underscore charts, and then email it to me at happyj1939@yahoo.com. Well, that's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.